Namaskara and welcome to Season 2 of A Village Story. This is a story of moving on to the land, not as a farmer but as an urban woman with big dreams. This is not a guide, not a lesson, it is a lived story. This is a village story. Season 2 The Land Beckons. If you're someone who feels called by the land, then this season is for you. So grab a cup of chai and settle in. As I woke up each morning on the land, something quiet but steady began to grow between the two of us. An unseen bond, not dramatic, not sudden, just present. As days passed, I started noticing something unsettling. The land and I were alike. There was one similarity that stood out so clearly that I could not unsee it. Neither of us had boundaries. As a person, I had always struggled with boundaries. I allowed people to walk all over me, and when I felt hurt or exhausted, I would retreat into solitude. The land had lived the same story. She had never been protected from intrusion. People felt entitled to her. Cattle were grazed far beyond what she could tolerate. She was plowed again and again, expected to yield even when she had nothing left to give. Decades of chemicals had left her soil tired, almost lifeless. Yet, people came to her demanding more fodder, more crops, more access, more convenience. And never once did I see anyone pause. Never once did I see gratitude offered to the land. People romanticize land, farms, and open spaces. But very few talk about boundaries, about conflict, about protection. Land is often treated as convenience. Shade, shortcuts, firewood, fodder, harvest, assumed access, without responsibility. As I walked barefoot on this land, something inside me began to shift. An assertiveness woke up in me, something I did not even know existed. I had never been an assertive person, but the land was teaching me. It was as if she was lending me her voice, and slowly I began to speak on her behalf. I claimed myself as her guardian, and the first conflict came sooner than I expected. It was with my co-sister. I had accidentally found white ragi seeds and decided to grow them on a small patch of land right in front of our house. When we harvested, we took only the grains and left the dry stalks behind to return to the soil as mulch. My brother-in-law and co-sister would pass that patch every day with their cattle. To them, the dry grass looked like waste. Without asking, they cut it and carried it away for their cows. When I noticed it on the second day, something in me did not retreat as it usually did. I stood there and said clearly that the grass should be left untouched. My demand was dismissed. "You don't have cows," they said. "You're not using it. Let us use it." They couldn't see what I was trying to protect, and I couldn't explain it in words they were willing to hear. That conversation ended our speaking terms. For protecting land, this was my first conflict. I did not realize then that many more would follow. Soon after, I coaxed my husband into planting native tree saplings across the land. We hoped that trees would at least discourage grazing. We had no help, just the two of us, bare hands. We planted more than 50 saplings and took turns watering them. Every time villagers passed through with cattle, I requested them to stop grazing on our land. Ideally, I asked them to stop passing through it altogether. Their response was always the same. Matter of fact, almost amused. Give us an alternate road first. That response bothered me, so I began studying the village roads. What I discovered shocked me. There was already a village road running right along our border. We had even left more than 3 feet of our land for it. So what happened to this road? It had been swallowed by weeds in some places. In others, it had been encroached upon by neighbors who never bothered to acknowledge it was a village road. And so, a new road was born. A road of convenience through our land. That was the moment things changed. My polite requests slowly turned into firm statements. I began saying it plainly. This road is closed. You cannot pass through here. My words fell on deaf ears, so I did the only thing left. I called a tractor. The entire stretch of the so-called road was plowed, and I sowed ragi across it. I stood there, arms crossed, thinking, now let me see who dares to walk through my ragi. While I was away at my day job, someone did. A villager rode his bike straight through the growing ragi to reach land downhill. That day, something in me snapped. All my tolerance shattered. When I called him, I did not recognize my own voice. I told him clearly that if he ever rode through my ragi again, I would drive my car through his entire maize field and ensure nothing remained standing. I am not proud of that threat, but I will be honest, that was the first time I chose protection over being liked. The news spread through the village like wildfire. I had always been quiet, soft-spoken, non-confrontational. So when people heard about my outburst, something shifted. Suddenly, the boundaries were visible. People stopped passing through our land. I did not care much about what it did to my image. What mattered was that the land finally seemed to breathe. She was resting and rejuvenating. But that peace did not last long. The very next day, I spotted a man walking straight through again. I screamed, I shouted. He did not even slow down. When I told my husband, he laughed and said, "Drunk men never respect boundaries." I accepted that explanation with some defeat. But I was not alone anymore. By then, I had 2 dogs. They had seen everything. I had been trying to train them as guard dogs, and I wasn't sure it had worked. They were friendly dogs, always wagging their tails, always eager to be petted. Evening walks became a routine. The dogs running ahead, me following behind. One evening, we crossed a drunk man, the same kind who had ignored my protests and used our land as a shortcut. Without any provocation, my male dog ran straight at him and bit him. I was shocked. I ran to the man immediately. His leg was bleeding. I took him to the hospital, ensured he received the injections, and dropped him home. I am not proud of that incident, but that bite did what my voice could not. From that day onwards, no one used the road of convenience. No passers-by, no cattle, no shortcuts. Even the chairman Ray from my previous episode stopped dropping by to pick things from the land. Later, during an evening walk, he casually told us, "I wish I could visit you, but I'm afraid of your dogs." I smiled, not with pride, but with clarity. Because somewhere along the way, I had learned something important. Loving land is not just about nurturing it. It is also about protecting it. Even when that protection makes you unpopular, even when it costs you relationships, even when it changes how people see you. The land taught me boundaries. And in protecting her, I finally learned to protect myself. And before we close, a small reflection. So many of us struggle to set boundaries, especially the ones meant to protect our own well-being. Allowing people to walk over us often gets woven into who we think we are, until one day something breaks. Before we reach that point, may we each find our voice. May we find the courage to stand steady and say enough. Just as the land taught me by asking to be protected, by lending me her strength, may we learn to speak for ourselves. And in doing so, we may not always be liked, and that too is all right. This is a village story, Season 2. Namaskara and take care.